Today we're going to talk about 4 ways to never get hit in a street attack. So the first way is to avoid high-risk places and scenarios. This is the best way. This is the best way to avoid getting hit in a street attack. Avoid high-risk places. And one thing is to don't go into high-crime areas. I have an instructor who every time he travels all over the world, and whenever he travels, he always checks the crime, what the most prevalent crimes in that area are, and he's always prepared before he goes there. But one thing you can do is to just avoid those areas altogether and stay in safer areas. Another thing is within that is high risk places is to places with alcohol. Crime and assault goes up dramatically when alcohol is involved. For example, 37% of sexual assaults and rape involve alcohol consumption, and 26% of simple and aggravated assaults all involve the consumption of alcohol. So crime goes way up under those scenarios, I guess. Other things are like political places where people are, already agitated, things like that. Or being alone. Women have the highest rates of assault with violent boyfriends or spouses, things like that. So to not be around people like that and to avoid those people if they're violent. Never, have a zero tolerance for something like that. So the number one way to avoid being hit in a street attack is to avoid those high-risk places. The second best way would be to have good awareness and remain in a distance where they can't touch you. So preferably at least 6 feet away from people or farther. So no one comes into your space. No one comes in within 6 feet of you unless you invite them in. So when they move in, you move back. And you have to have a good awareness to do that because most people don't pay attention and people can get real close to you really easily. So nobody can hurt you physically with their hands and feet if they can't get within 6 feet of you. So that's the second best way, is to have that. Another thing you can do under that category is to have some sort of a barrier, like a desk or a table or something that you can get behind or have between you and the other person. That's the second best. And the third best way to not get hit in a street attack is to form a frame or a barrier with your own hands or your own arms. So stopping them with your hands, putting a barrier between you and them if they get within that 6 feet distance. When you're holding them back with your hand or hands, try to profile yourself, keep yourself slanted to them in a perpendicular angle to them, and keep your head away from being hit. And always be aware of the positioning of their hands, their legs, and their head so that they can't hit you with any of those things while you have that barrier. That's the third best. And the last best, but a way that you can not get hit in a street attack is to clinch or get into a tight grappling situation. You see this with boxers when they get hit a lot, they'll start clinching and then the ref breaks them up. But if you're attacked and you can't avoid the high-risk place, you can't maintain a non-touching distance, you haven't been able to effectively form a barrier with your arms, the next best thing would be to clinch or grapple that person and stay really tight to them where their strikes can't have any effect on you or much of an effect because you're too close to them for them to have any decent impact on you when they try to hit you. Problems with that clinch and the grappling are they could pull out a weapon and you're stuck with them. They could hold you there even though they're on the bottom position or whatever. They could keep you with them. And multiple attacker scenarios would be bad too, because if they're holding you, you're on them and you're stuck there. If other attackers come, you might be stuck there getting hit. But these are great ways to avoid getting hit in a street attack. Number one more time, to reiterate, is avoid high-risk places. Number two is have good awareness and keep us at minimum of 6 feet distance from anybody, and no one gets in that space. Number three is, if they get past that space, form a barrier with your hands or your arms that they can't get past. And number four would be, if they get past that, go to a tight clinch or a grappling situation where you close the distance so that they can't hit you. All right, I hope that helps. I hope it makes you safer. I hope you use this information, don't just listen to it, and share the information also with your friends. All right, thanks a lot. We'll see you next time.